Have you ever noticed how much effort we pour into chasing wealth, yet the fulfillment we expect from it always seems to slip through our fingers? Many of us work tirelessly, sometimes to the point of exhaustion, believing that the next paycheck, the next promotion, or the next big deal will finally bring us the sense of peace and happiness we crave. I used to think this way too. I thought money would solve everything. I thought it would erase the struggles I faced and silence the doubts in my mind. But the more I chased it, the more I realized something was missing. Why, despite the hours worked and the sacrifices made, did fulfillment remain out of reach? There's a fundamental flaw in how we think about wealth. Aristotle, one of the greatest minds in human history, understood this flaw over 2,000 years ago. He taught that wealth is not an end in itself. It's a tool, a means to achieve something greater. But too often we confuse the means with the end. We convince ourselves that if we just had more money, everything would fall into place. But does it? Does money ever really address the deeper questions we carry inside us? Or are we simply distracting ourselves from those questions with the chase and the noise of accumulation? Let's step back and examine what wealth really is. At its core, money is a representation of value. It's a medium of exchange. Nothing more, nothing less. And yet we assign it so much power. We see it as the ultimate solution to our problems, the thing that will finally make us feel secure, respected, or even loved. But here's the truth: money is neutral. It's neither good nor bad. It's what we do with it, and more importantly, what we believe about it, that determines its impact on our lives. If money is supposed to bring us fulfillment, why do we see so many wealthy people struggling with emptiness, anxiety, and even despair? If money was the ultimate answer, wouldn't it guarantee happiness for those who have it in abundance? Aristotle believed that true happiness, what he called eudaimonia, comes not from external possessions, but from living a life of virtue and purpose. He argued that fulfillment is found in aligning our actions with our values, in striving to be the best version of ourselves, and in contributing to the greater good. Wealth, in this framework, is secondary. It's useful, yes, but only insofar as it supports a life of meaning. Yet, how often do we forget this? How often do we let the pursuit of money consume us, leading us further away from the things that truly matter?
Click subscribe to this channel to get more profound insights.
Here's a question to consider: what do you really want from wealth? Is it the money itself, or is it what you think the money will bring you? Freedom, security, respect, joy, these are the things we're truly after. But are they inherently tied to wealth? Think about the people in your life who seem genuinely fulfilled. Are they the ones with the most money? Or are they the ones who live with purpose, who nurture meaningful relationships, and who approach life with gratitude and integrity? There's a trap in our thinking that I want to address. We often believe that wealth is the prerequisite for happiness. We tell ourselves, once I have enough money, then I can focus on what really matters. Then I'll have time for my family, for my passions, for my health. But this way of thinking puts happiness on hold indefinitely, because the truth is, enough is a moving target. The more we have, the more we want. The finish line keeps moving. And in the process, we sacrifice the very things that bring real fulfillment: our relationships, our health, our sense of inner peace, all in the name of chasing something that can never truly satisfy us. Aristotle warned against this kind of life. He believed that living well requires balance. It requires us to prioritize what he called the golden mean, the middle ground between excess and deficiency. When we let the pursuit of wealth dominate our lives, we fall into excess. We neglect other areas of life that are just as, if not more, important. We become so focused on achieving external success that we lose sight of the internal virtues that make life worth living. And the irony is, the more we chase wealth as an end in itself, the less likely we are to achieve the deeper fulfillment we desire. Let's be clear, there's nothing wrong with wanting financial stability. There's nothing wrong with working hard to improve your circumstances or to provide for your loved ones. Money can be a powerful tool for good. It can give you the means to support causes you care about, to create opportunities for others, and to live a comfortable life. But the danger lies in making it the central focus of your existence. When money becomes the measure of your worth, when it dictates your decisions and defines your identity, it stops being a tool and starts becoming a trap. I want to challenge you to think about the roots of your desires. Why do you want the things you want? Is it because they align with your values and aspirations? Or is it because society has conditioned you to believe they're important? So much of our obsession with wealth comes from external influences. We're bombarded with messages that tell us we need to have more, do more, and be more to be considered successful. Social media, advertisements, and cultural expectations feed this narrative, making us feel like we're constantly falling short. But whose standards are we trying to live up to? Are they truly our own, or are we chasing someone else's idea of success? Aristotle would remind us that true fulfillment comes from within. It's not about how much we have, it's about how we live. Are we cultivating virtues like courage, wisdom, and compassion? Are we using our talents to make a positive impact on the world? Are we building relationships that nourish our souls? These are the questions that matter. And the answers have little to do with the size of our bank accounts. There's another aspect to consider. When we place too much emphasis on wealth, we risk losing sight of the present moment. We become so fixated on the future, on what we're trying to achieve, that we forget to appreciate what we already have. How often do we look around and recognize the abundance in our lives? The love of a friend, the beauty of nature, the satisfaction of a job well done, these are the things that bring genuine joy. But when we're caught in the cycle of always wanting more, we overlook them. We take them for granted, thinking that happiness lies somewhere down the road, just beyond the next milestone. So how do we break free from this cycle? How do we shift our focus from chasing wealth to cultivating a life of meaning? Aristotle offers a guide focus on what you can control. You can't control how much money you'll ultimately make, but you can control the effort you put into your work, the attitude you bring to your relationships, and the choices you make each day. You can choose to live with integrity, to act with kindness, and to pursue excellence in whatever you do. These are the things that lead to true fulfillment, not because they guarantee external success, but because they align with who you are at your core. Let me ask you this: if money were no object, how would you live your life? What would you do differently? And why aren't you doing those things now? The answers to these questions reveal what truly matters to you. They show you where your values lie, and they remind you that fulfillment is not something to be found in the future, it's something to be cultivated in the present. When we stop seeing wealth as the ultimate goal and start treating it as a tool, we free ourselves from its grip. We begin to focus on the things that truly matter: our character, our relationships, and our contributions to the world. And in doing so, we discover that fulfillment has been within our reach all along. It's not something we have to chase, it's something we create by living a life of purpose and virtue. If we are to truly understand why wealth often fails to deliver fulfillment, we must confront a difficult truth: the things we believe will make us happy are often illusions. Society has conditioned us to think of success in terms of material accumulation, how much we earn, what we own, the prestige we project. But if that were the case, wouldn't the wealthiest among us also be the happiest? Why, then, do we see so many stories of those who have everything money can buy yet still feel lost, empty, and disconnected? What is it that money cannot reach? Aristotle's wisdom provides us with a profound answer. He tells us that wealth is instrumental. It's not the goal, but merely one of many tools that can help us achieve a meaningful life. Yet, when we elevate wealth to the status of a goal, we distort its purpose. It's like mistaking the map for the destination. Money, power, recognition, these are not the essence of fulfillment. They are the shadows of something deeper, something we often overlook because we're too busy chasing what's visible and measurable. Think about this: when was the last time you felt truly alive? Not just content, but fully immersed in a moment, where your heart and mind were aligned with a sense of purpose. Was it when you purchased something expensive? Or was it when you achieved something meaningful, connected deeply with another person, or gave of yourself in a way that mattered? Aristotle understood that fulfillment is not about what we acquire, but about how we live. It's about expressing our potential, living in accordance with our virtues, and contributing to something larger than ourselves. The problem with wealth is not in having it, but in what it can do to our priorities. When money becomes the central focus of our lives, it tends to warp our values. It encourages us to see the world through a transactional lens, where relationships are reduced to networking opportunities, and time is measured by how much it can earn. We become so focused on the outcomes, on earning, saving, investing, that we lose sight of the moments that make life rich and meaningful. What good is having millions in the bank if you've lost touch with the people you love, the passions that inspire you, or the inner peace that allows you to rest at night? Let's take a step back and ask a question that cuts to the heart of this issue. Who are you without your wealth? Strip away the titles, the possessions, the accolades. What remains? This is one of the most challenging questions we can confront, because it forces us to face the reality of our inner lives. For many, the pursuit of wealth is a way to avoid this question, to distract from the discomfort of not knowing who we truly are or what truly matters to us. Yet, until we answer it, we will always feel a sense of incompleteness, no matter how much we acquire. Aristotle believed that the purpose of life is to achieve what he called the good life, and the good life is not about having more, but about being more virtuous, more courageous, more compassionate. It's about developing our character and using our unique gifts to contribute to the world. This is where real fulfillment comes from. And interestingly, when we focus on living this way, wealth often follows not as the goal, but as a natural byproduct of creating value in the world. Here's a practical example. Think of someone who dedicates their life to solving a meaningful problem, whether it's in science, art, education, or business. Their primary motivation is not wealth, but the impact they can make. Yet, in the process of pursuing their purpose, they often create immense value, which the world rewards. Compare this to someone whose sole aim is to get rich. They may achieve financial success, but their work often lacks depth, meaning, and connection. Which life would you choose? And more importantly, which life do you think leaves a person feeling fulfilled when they look back at the end of their days? I want to challenge you to rethink what success means to you. Is it defined by what you own or by who you are? Is it about impressing others or about living in alignment with your values? These are not abstract questions, they shape the decisions you make every day. Because the truth is, every choice you make, how you spend your time, how you treat others, how you approach your work reflects what you value most. And if your choices are driven solely by the pursuit of wealth, what does that say about what matters to you? One of the most overlooked aspects of fulfillment is the role of relationships. Aristotle emphasized that humans are social beings, and that much of our happiness comes from the quality of our connections with others. Yet, when we prioritize wealth above all else, relationships often suffer. How many times have we heard stories of people who sacrificed time with their families, neglected their friendships, or betrayed their principles in the name of financial success? And how often do those same people regret those choices later in life, when they realize that the things they sacrificed were the very things that made life meaningful? Think of the people you admire most. Are they the ones who have the most money, or are they the ones who live with integrity, kindness, and purpose? What kind of person do you want to be remembered as? These questions matter because they force us to confront the legacy we are creating, not just in terms of material wealth, but in the impact we have on others and the example we set. It's also worth considering how the pursuit of wealth affects our sense of time. When we're consumed by the desire for more, we often live in the future, constantly chasing the next goal, the next promotion, the next big opportunity. But this way of living robs us of the present moment, which is the only time we truly have. How often do we trade the joy of today for the promise of tomorrow, only to find that tomorrow never brings the satisfaction we were hoping for? Aristotle would remind us that a good life is lived in the here and now, with gratitude for what we have and a focus on what truly matters. So how do we break free from the trap of wealth as a measure of fulfillment? It starts by shifting our focus from external success to internal growth. Instead of asking, "How much can I earn?" ask, "What kind of person do I want to become?" Instead of chasing material possessions, invest in experiences, relationships, and self-improvement. Instead of measuring your worth by your bank account, measure it by the quality of your character and the impact you have on others. This shift is not easy, especially in a world that constantly pressures us to equate wealth with worth. But it is necessary if we want to live a life of meaning and fulfillment. Aristotle's wisdom reminds us that the good life is not about having everything, but about being whole. It's about aligning our actions with our values, nurturing our relationships, and contributing to the greater good. And in doing so, we discover a kind of wealth that money can never buy: a wealth of purpose, connection, and inner peace.